Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, let me tell you about my guest, Carina Gardner. Carina has a Ph.D. in design from University of Minnesota. She taught design at the University of Minnesota and the Arts Institute before starting her design business. The Carina Gardner brand has been on dishwater, jewelry prints, clocks, sewing patterns, and holiday products. Carina also is a well-known fabric designer for Riley Blake Designs and die-cut designer for Silhouette. Carina was the creative director of Carta Belta Scrapbook Papers. Her kids' brand, Minnie Lou, has sold products from Nordstrom, Peak Clothing, and SOO. No, I'm sorry, 500. I can read. 500 independent real retailers and museums in the U.S. Carina is the CEO of Design Suite, a surface pattern and crafting design program that teaches designers how to make money as they learn to make the transition from crafter and hobbies to profitable designers. Carina is originally from Clarksville, Tennessee. She currently lives in Sandy, Utah, with her husband and 3 children. Today, I thought you all would love to hear about building a multi-million-dollar business in less than 3 years. Please join me in welcoming my guest, Carina Gardner. Carina, everybody's anxious to hear what you have to say.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure to have you. Whenever I was growing up, I have a mother that's artistic, my sister and brother. I'm like sandwiched between those two, and then there's several after that. But those two, the 3 people were very artistic. And so I thought, well, I'm not as good as them, but I love crafts. And so I did crafts all the time until I got to high school. And my art teacher said, you're pretty good. I was like, oh, really? But I just find crafting, even coloring, to be so helpful to distress. And so it's interesting now, my youngest daughter is a right and left brain, just like my husband, and tremendous artist. But she now is doing a craft where it's these little beads that you press it down and it looks like cross-stitch glitter, or if you will, I guess. But I can just see how it just de-stresses her from her general manager job. So I am anxious for you to share how we can have people go from that hobby to actually making some money.
Yeah, it's so funny because especially as someone who has a doctorate in design, I never thought I'd be in the nichest of all niche spaces, which is designing for the crafting industry.
Yeah.
Scrapbooking, huge for a while. It's kind of gone down at the moment. There's not as much scrapbooking happening, but crafting in general still is quite crazy. In fact, the more complicated crafting methods, like even the little, like you're talking about the little beads that you can like make into little cross stitches, like almost the more complicated and intricate stuff has become even more popular. And in particular, I work for Silhouette, and then Cricut, we create files for Cricut as well.
Mhm.
But like those require not complicated understandings, but it requires expensive machinery.
Yeah.
And you do have to, there's a learning curve, and those are ridiculously popular.
Yeah.
People love them so much.
Both my daughters. So my other daughter is a school teacher. Now she teaches new teachers how to be more innovative. And she was the first to get the Cricut and started to make things. So I guess she's more like my crafter. But then my younger daughter, she works for a theater, and they need to make signs and posters and all these kind of things. And so she uses a Cricut at work and at home. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
kind of
tremendous.
amazing, right? Because people are using it for crafting, but there's so many practical applications for
Yeah.
actually using a machine like that.
Yeah. One of the things she did was she got these huge sacks, and then put everybody's name on it. And at Christmas time, she put their gifts in these big sacks and then asked them for the bag back so she could use it again the next year. So, but everybody loved it. It was these cloth sacks with their presents in. You didn't have to worry about, size or shape. It was ingenious. And I'm sure she saw it on somewhere online that gave her the idea from one of her crafter shows that she watches.
Yeah, those have been extremely popular the last couple of years, and I love them. I think they're amazing. They're beautiful, and in a lot of ways, a little more eco-friendly than
Yeah,
using white wrapping paper every year, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So we're going to get into, we normally ask a very easy question about where you live, but you gave that away in your bio about Sandy, Utah. So we'll just get into the heart of this. What the number one question is not, is really tied to our theme. And that is, how did you build a multi-million-dollar business in less than 3 years?
It is kind of insane because 3 years ago, if you had told me this is where I'd be at, I would have been like, no, there's no way. Like, how does someone build something so quickly, so insanely fast? And there are a lot of working pieces to it. So I don't want to, by any means, simplify the process, but I think the number one thing we did that I don't see, uh, businesses doing as well as what we've done is we catered and we changed our program probably every 3 to 6 months to fit the needs of the members. And
Yes.
by really catering to what they actually wanted, what we found is that not only did people stay, they wouldn't leave. That's kind of what we found, is people wouldn't leave, is we were just able to grow extremely fast.
I'm sure
And
they told other people.
yeah, and we just became more valuable, right? We also did things to really help the community grow. And
Hmm.
that was not a choice on my part. Okay, I got into this to teach design. I was like, you know what? Like, everybody's been asking me how I made so much money as a designer. I'm just going to tell them how I did it. Let's just create like a 6-month program basically for doing that. So I was just like, I'm going to make it easy. We'll have 8 courses that they can DIY, get their stuff from. I come from academia, so I was like, this is going to be easy. And then once a week, I'm going to critique their stuff, because that's the part that's missing. A lot of mentorship is really missing in design and in a lot of different fields, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you have like really someone looking at your stuff to make sure that it's correct. Well, so I started doing this about a month in it. It was probably 2 months in. Some of the members said, hey, Carina, and all I was doing is just once a month or once a week meetings, and then this coursework. That was it. They were like, hey, Carina, we love this, but we'd like to talk to each other. And I was like, what? You want to what? And they were like, we'd like to talk to each other. Can we have a Facebook group? And I was like, yeah, you can, but I'm not going to manage it. It's just for you guys. Like, you guys do it. Well, I opened it and it just didn't work. Like, it's just like when there's not someone managing it, and it was pretty frustrating. And they were like, this isn't really working. And I said, okay, fine. I'll build you guys a community. We built it directly in Kajabi, which is what we use for our coursework. And we built it directly in Kajabi. And it was highly successful. People loved it. They liked talking to each other. They were
Yeah.
typing in there all day, like chatting and sharing information. It was fantastic. Well, I think it was 6 months later, and the program had grown. It was still just me. Really, I had like I had a VA and a video editor. It was just like a couple of
Right.
us. But I could tell that it was going well. And one of the people came to me and said, "Hey, Carina, we would like to actually see each other." I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "We would like to talk to each other. Like, we don't want to just come to meetings. We can see all the stuff everybody else is doing, but we'd like to talk to each other." And I was just like, "Seriously, guys? Like, I'm just here to teach design. I'm not here to like build you guys all this like community and stuff." But I was just like, "Fine." What I did was everyone at and we had a lot of people at that point. I just was like, if you guys want this, then you've got to commit to it. So I put them all into a big meeting with me and I said, "All right, how often do
How
you guys
about
want to
it?
meet?" Yeah. And they were like, "Twice a month." I was like, "Great. Okay. So I'm going to organize you into groups and you're going to have a moderator. That's what we'll do. And you'll just open it up and you guys can talk about your wins and losses and all that." And they're like, "Yeah, that's what we want." I said, "Great. What do you want to call it?" So I made them name it too. I was like, "You guys have to name this thing because like I'm just here to teach design, right?"
Yeah,
I
right.
hadn't really fully realized what I had built. It was a kind of a monster and I hadn't realized it. So they were like, "Yeah, we want to do this." And I said, "Okay, great." So we did that. And I said, "I have the right in 2 months, if this doesn't work, to pull this back. Like if there's anyone who doesn't get along, if you guys fight with each other." It's so funny. It's like almost like I'm talking about kids. My women are 40 to 65,
Yeah,
but
right.
I just had nerves about it because you had seen, especially in the crafting world on Facebook, where women were snotty with each
Yeah,
other
yeah.
and mean. And I was just like, I will have none of that. Like, that is not
Mhm.
happening. If you're going to be here, you're going to be a fantastic designer. We're going to be kind to each other and we're going to work together. And it went off without a hitch. And I realized it was because it was a paid community, right? I monitored who came in. We didn't just let anybody into our program. We
Right.
have an admissions process to make sure that you're a good fit for our program. And so once that went without a hitch and everybody loves it. So now we're down to only one meeting a month just because we have so many other types of meetings, but they love it. It's so great. A year after that, we had a live conference and people asked we introduced to them to this app called Marco Polo, which
Oh,
I
yes, I
use.
know. Mhm.
Yeah. So we let everyone who were at the live meeting come into a Marco Polo group. And they loved it. They were like, "This is incredible, Carina. We love it so much. We love talking to each other every day. It's so amazing." And they're like, "Can we have this in the full program?" And I was like, "I don't know, you guys. This is a lot. Like, now we're like every day talking to each other and hanging
Yeah.
out." But I said, "You know what? I'll do it like I do everything else. We'll try it for a month. If it goes well, we'll keep it." It is one of the biggest perks of my program. People
Mhm.
get put into we do it by flower group. So we have a tulip group, a rose group, a daisy group, and a lily group. And these people in their groups, they get to be together on Marco Polo. They get to be with everybody in the community, and then they get their squad meetings once a month.
Wow.
And people love it because
Yeah.
people make friends. They go out to lunch. They find people in their area and go out with them. We have subset groups. So even though we teach design, we have like a group that's jewelry and they just meet on their own. They built their own group. You know, we have people who want to just do scrapbooking. They build their own group. And so we're we realized about halfway through that community was a really important part of
Yeah.
this. And we just had no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah, so true. And it's interesting, with public speaking too. The thing that I think often is missing is that ability for somebody to evaluate how they did, to practice and evaluate how they did. And that's where the community comes in. So definitely. Yeah, Marco Polo, another group that I was with, do that all the time. And it just is like nonstop stuff. And I thought, well, but that had a lot of people in that group. So maybe that's
Yeah.
why.
That's kind of what happened to us. So the group got really big. So now we split them. It's like we have mini design suites
Yeah,
happening
that's
all at the
awesome.
same time. And it helps a lot. And it's not for everybody, but that's
Mhm.
why our program is so diverse. It's like, if you want community view, just a written, just do the written. If you want it and just see everybody once a month in your meeting, great, do it in the meeting. If you want to see everyone every day and you need that kind of support, great. And so we've
Mm,
given people the way that works for them. We've just
perfect.
given them access. And maybe people are like, how does this have to do with a multi-million-dollar business? Happy clients, happy
Yes.
members is everything. I don't even know if there's another way to build a multi-million-dollar business, especially in the coaching space or the
Hmm.
education
Yeah.
space. People stay because they love it. They love the support
And
they get.
yeah. And really, when you have that problem, if you have that instant access, if you had to wait a month to figure out what was going on, or, you build your own little network of people, but maybe they don't have all the answers. So the ability to just at any time go on that Marco Polo or be taking advantage of the network you built is just priceless.
Yeah, it really is.
So, what is it like to be a fabric designer or a craft designer? So, kind of for those out there that maybe not into crafting or haven't, maybe don't think they could design anything. And so, talk to us about each of those.
So, we teach designers to really find a specific skill. So it doesn't mean they can't be a fabric and a craft designer. I'm a fabric and a craft designer, but you really do one very, very well to begin with in order to get there. Now, in the fabric space, most people only think that the way to make money is through fabric licensing. So that's what I have. Like, I have a fabric license with Riley Blake, and I create designs for them. They produce a fabric line for me once every year or every 2 years, depending on how long, how often I submit stuff to them. And most people think that is the way to do it. Unfortunately, that's just the most known way. That's
Um,
the way that everybody knows about. We teach ours to build through print on demand websites, and there's several out there. We have one that we love better than the others, but like, the most popular one that you're going to hear about is Spoonflower, right? And we know that there are bigger monies to be made from print on demand than even with a manufacturer.
uh,
It's also really difficult to get a manufacturing deal. So if you're a brand new designer and you don't have your style laid in yet, and you haven't really built yourself
mhm.
an audience, really the best way is an online platform. Well, same with
Cool.
crafting, but crafting has always been this way. This is why I love crafting. SVG files for Cricut or Silhouette files, sublimation files, which are PNG files, printables, anything like, if you heard of Teachers Pay Teachers, like those are printables, right? Online platforms is an amazing way to build a strong business. And that's actually how I did it. Most
Mhm.
people think it's because of all the contracts I've gotten or the freelance work, but it is 100%. I would say 85%, if not more, of the money that I made over the last 16 years really actually came from online platforms. And I'm
Mm.
on about 9 at this point.
Wow.
But it is really, there is all these techniques that we teach, strategies based on the kind of platform you're on, and understanding really how to create art that makes sense for that kind of customer.
Awesome. So interesting. So, how do they go about beyond your course? How else would they go about to be educated and learn how to do it? Is there a lot of courses out there? I know my daughter went to SCAD, Savannah
Mhm.
College of Art and Design, but are there other schools beyond art institutes that teach this design type of thing, or people like you?
No, it doesn't. It's funny because it's a niche industry, and because the people who do make a lot of money, including myself, like, I never considered actually creating this program. I made a lot of money as a designer. And so it really was by happenstance, and because I was getting so many questions about it, and
Yeah.
because I was in a lot of ways bored because I had really had built out my network pretty well, I was like, let's try this thing. Well, so I lecture at universities. I'll go as a guest lecturer and talk to their students. And at this time, and I remember as I taught at the University of Minnesota, if you go to college, which I actually highly recommend if you want to become a designer, I think going to college is the way to go. You are going to get a phenomenal design education, which is really important. You're going to be good at design. You're going to understand theory. You're going to know how to talk to customers, like all the things that we teach in design curriculum. The missing component and why my program is so popular is because rarely will you see a college university program out there that actually teaches business. I'll
Yeah.
see once in a while, like, a little program that's pretty inexpensive. They'll say, I will teach you how to build a business. I'm going to tell you what they teach you right now. They teach you walk into Target, go look underneath a something product that you like, a journal, a plant pot or whatever, find the manufacturer, and then go and email that manufacturer and see if you can get a licensing deal. That is typically what I'm seeing across
Oh,
the
wow.
board in the industry. It's probably the worst business tactic in the world. It just
Yeah.
is. And it doesn't mean it doesn't work for some people. It does. Like, I think that if you're a persistent emailer, you have really good artwork, you can form bonds with those people via email. It's very difficult, but it can be done. Okay. Um, I am just I'm just kind of floored that this is what we've been teaching for the last 20 years, that this is the way you create a business. So we just teach a very practical methods for creating a business. It's consistency, it's a volume of product, it's being fast in the programs, it's understanding customer needs, it's building it online platforms, understanding which platforms make the most money, which ones don't, really choosing marketplaces that are strong. So like, for
Yeah.
example, people will like not do their research and they'll be like, I'm going to make digital bookmarks. Go look out there. Digital bookmarks don't really exist for a good reason. There are very few sales for it. It's very difficult to sell it. So
Mhm.
instead, we teach you how to make smart decisions about marketplaces. So you're choosing marketplaces that make sense and then really designing very smartly for those marketplaces.
Awesome. So what things would you suggest for those that are just starting out? So they don't have anybody really, a team or anything. What would you suggest to help them really begin their creative business?
Yeah. So are you talking about designers or just in general? Like if you're trying to
Just in
create a creative,
general, just in
okay.
general.
So creative business owners, I think in a lot of ways, you have the most potential to make the most money in the shortest amount of time, which is insane. I don't know if I would have said that 3 years ago, but based on my experience and what has happened to me, I would say that start out with done is better than perfect. I tell this to my designers all the time.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
program now is almost 100% different than what I started out with 3 years ago. I mean, you just heard the story of me and the
Mhm.
communities and adding people and all that other stuff, but so many other things have changed in it as well. The types of meetings we hold, we're actually in the middle. We have actually 17 courses now, and
Wow.
literally every course is going through a rework of 15-week semester long coursework. So we're really building it for academics at this point.
So
And
good.
it's just like, don't think that the program that you think is going to be in your head is the program now. At the beginning, it's just a test. It's
Yeah.
whatever you're going to do, it's just a test. And that's what I went in with. I was like, I'm just going to test this, see if it works, and see if it really helps people. Because guess what? Like, if it doesn't help people, it's no good. I really went into it thinking, if I can just help one person become a designer and make money designing, this will be totally worth it.
Mm.
And I still have that attitude. I was on a call today with someone who needed help with one of our systems, and I just said, like, let's just figure this out together. And we walked through it. And even though I'm CEO and I have a huge team now, and it's crazy that I will still take meetings with some of my designers, I actually think it's really important. It keeps me in touch with what they
Yeah,
actually need and what they're
absolutely.
struggling with.
Mhm. Yeah, that's very smart. I mean, from a leadership perspective, that's, what I would teach too. So that's a great, great thing. Well, time has flown by, and I think we'll probably have to get together again and have some further conversations about this, obviously, because it's something that interests me too. But I think it's something that maybe the audience are like, oh gosh, That sounds like fun. Something additional to do, maybe. All right. So it's time for me to go ahead and share my slide that has Carina's contact information. If you haven't done so already and you're just listening, please get a paper and pencil or a pen or your smartphone to be able to get this down. Everything will be on my YouTube channel, Vicki Noethling. Please subscribe, as well as my findyourleadershipconfidence.com. But for those of you that are watching right now, go ahead and get a screenshot of this. If you're just listening, the website is carinagardner.com. Again, that's carinagardner.com. On Facebook, she's carina.gardner.designs. Instagram is Carina Gardner, and YouTube is Carina Gardner. You can thank her later for using her name for everything. I'm going to turn it over to Carina to talk about what she has as a call to action for you.
Yeah, so my most recent book is just out. It's called Make Art That Sells. If you can't tell, I'm a very practical teacher and I'm a very practical CEO. And this book, Make Art That Sells, is exactly what it sounds like. We teach you how to make art that sells. And so if you actually want to be in any creative field, this formula will help you. So what I've done is at the end, it's a full formula and you can see it. It's visual. Our people are visual, right? But this book is really fun because every chapter introduces a piece of the formula and uses an artist in history to showcase it. So you're going to learn a little bit about Vincent van Gogh and Picasso and Norman Rockwell and Yayoi Kusama. And so it's just fun. It'll introduce you to some new artists. It will showcase some ones that you already know and you probably love. And it just makes the whole formula super fun. It's a very fast read. So what I have for you is the book's available on Amazon, but we have a masterclass with 6 workshops in it where I show you art. I show you like the formula. We walk through it. We run through it. So it's really fun to listen to. It's a lecture series. So even if you don't have the book, I think you'll really enjoy the workshop series. So if you go to makeartbook.com, if you click on the link to the masterclass, not the book, but to the masterclass, you will see that the masterclass makes money or it costs money. Do not pay for it. Use the code MAKEART. Just put that in. It will give you the class for free.
Awesome. So good. Well, I have just enjoyed this so much. Again, anyone that's watching, please get the screenshot. I'm going to shut this down. Those just listening, again, that is carinagardner.com. But if you want to get that master class, go to makeartbook.com, makeartbook.com, and use MakeArt code to get it for free. She's so wonderful to do that for y'all. Okay, it has been, as I knew it would be, just a delight to chat with you today. And I do hope we can have further conversations. Love to have you on one of my summits too, to spread what you do and why you do it with the others. But as always, I remind everyone, life is a journey and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.